Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya
Jaya
Nityananda.
Nanda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya
Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Would somebody like to read?
Can I read?
Sure.
Hare Krishna. But as far as Yashoda, Krishna's mother in Vrindavan, is concerned, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.45 states, Traya Chopanisha Nishadbhischa Sankhya Yogeshcha Satvate Upagiyamanam Mahatmayam Harim Samanyatatmajam. Mother Yashoda thought that the personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by all the Vedas and Upanishads, as well as by the Sankhya system of philosophy and all authorized scriptures, had been born from her womb. It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.14 that Mother Yashoda bound the child Krishna with a rope as if he were an ordinary son born of her body. Another description of Krishna's being treated as an ordinary person appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.24. There it is stated that when Krishna was defeated in games with his friends, the cowherd boys, he had to carry Sri Dhamma on his shoulders.
So the point that Lord Chaitanya is trying to say is that in Vrindavan, so they know Krishna is God. It's not that they don't know. But their relationship, their love for Krishna is so much that they don't care that he's God. If Prabhupada would give the example to help us understand, Prime Minister. Okay, everyone, whole world, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, everybody will be so respectful to him. You know, bodyguards, everything. But once he goes home, the mother's not going to tell him, Mr. Prime Minister. She'll say, oh, my dear son, how are you? How's your day? She'll hug him, kiss him, embrace him. The wife, wife will have sweet, loving words with him. The children will talk to him with love. The grandchildren, he'll become a horse for his grandchild, probably. So that's what, because a loving relationship is there. And that is what is with the Brajvasis in Vrindavan. That their love for Krishna is so much that it kind like they don't care that he's God because their love for him is so strong. And that's what they relish more and more, the relationship with him.
Regarding the gopis' dealings with Sri Krishna and Vrindavan, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.30.36-38 describes how when Sri Krishna took Srimati Radhika alone from the Ras dance, she proudly thought, my dear Lord Krishna has left the other gopis, although they are as beautiful as I am, and he is satisfied with me alone. In the forest, she told Krishna, my dear Krishna, I am unable to move anymore. Now, if you like, you can take me wherever you desire. Krishna replied, you climb on my shoulder. But as soon as he said this, he disappeared, whereupon Srimati Radhika repented very much.
Kindly read. No?
Yeah. When Krishna disappeared from the scene of the Ras dance, all the gopis began to lament, saying, "Dear Krishna, we have come here and left aside our husbands, sons, relatives, brothers, and friends. Neglecting their advice, we have come to you, and you know very well the reason for our coming here. You know that we have come because we are captivated by the sweet sound of your flute. But you are so cunning that in the dead of night you have left girls and women like us. This is not very good of you."
So Lord Chaitanya is saying that Rasa dance, Krishna plays the flute, all the gopis come. Then he takes Radharani. He disappears from the Rasa dance with Radharani. Now Radharani gets a little bit of pride in her that, oh, I'm so special. Then Krishna disappears from there also. Then they go crazy looking for him everywhere. The song of the gopis, it's in the Bhagavatam. And then they're telling him, we came for you. In the forest we have come middle of the night. In those days it was not a thing. Now it's different, but those days was not a thing that the woman would go. So they're like, what you called us and then you just left us? What's happening? So Lord Chaitanya is speaking about that.
The word shama means controlling the mind and keeping it from being diverted in various ways while fixing it on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, one whose mind is fixed on the Supreme Lord is situated on the shama platform. On that platform, the devotee understands that Krishna is the basic principle of everything within our experience. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 7.19. After many, many births of cultivating knowledge, one who has attained real knowledge surrenders unto Vasudev, Krishna, because he can understand that Krishna is present in everything, that he is distributed all over the cosmic manifestation. Although everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord and is situated in his energy, everything is nonetheless different from Krishna in his personal form. It is stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that the platform of Shama, on which one understands that Krishna is the basic principle of everything, is the same as Shanta Rati. Unless one is elevated to the platform of Shant Rati, one cannot be fixed in knowledge of the greatness of Krishna or of the diffusion of his different energies, which are the cause of all manifestations. This same point is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.19.36. Shamo man nishtata buddhar Dama Indriya Samyamaha Titiksha Dukkha Samarsho Jivopashtha Jayo Dhritihi. Should I continue?
Okay, let's speak about this verse now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then now we are speaking about Shama. So what is being said? What is Shama?
Controlling the mind and keeping it from being diverted in various ways. Fixing the mind on the Supreme Personality of
Krishna.
God.
Means like just not letting the mind get diverted. If we analyze our mind, our thoughts, it's on everywhere else except Krishna.
Always.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what. Get too
And so
distracted.
Shama means just the opposite. They're not letting it going to anywhere else, but just keeping it on Krishna. And then Rūpa and Lord Chaitanya is saying that one who's able to do that is one who's on the Shantarati, one who's understood that everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is related to Krishna. The Sambandha Gyan is so Here, Bhagavad Gita, after many, many births of cultivating knowledge, one who has attained real knowledge surrenders unto Vasudeva. So this is the Sambandha Gyan. The first thing, that understanding, everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is related to Krishna. Everyone belongs to Krishna. Everyone is related to Krishna. Yet, Krishna himself, the person, is different. So understanding that everything and everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, is one of the energies of Krishna. So this knowledge, one has actually understood it. And so he's attained real knowledge. So it's no more a theory, but he's realized that knowledge. And so then Prabhupada is pointing out, Lord Chaitanya is pointing out, that at that point one can appreciate that Krishna is God. So then one is in the Shantaras, neutrality, understanding Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord, and that everything is related to Krishna. I was hearing a class by Gaur Govinda Maharaj recently. It's like, so whatever we think of, we are thinking of everything except Krishna. But whatever we are thinking of is related to Krishna. Whatever or whoever we are thinking of is related to Krishna. So then Bhagavatam.
Shama equilibrium of mind is achieved by one who has concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of everything. And when one can control his senses, this is called Shama. When one is ready to tolerate all kinds of sufferings to control the senses and keep the mind steady, that is called titiksha or tolerance. And when one can control the urges of the tongue and genitals, that is called dritti. One who has attained dritti is a dhira, a pacified person. A pacified person is never disturbed by the urges of the tongue and genitals.
So then in the earlier paragraph we heard that this living entity, he has realized the knowledge that Vasudevam Sarvamiti, that the Supreme Lord, he is the controller, everything is coming from him. And then one who has come to this, one who has achieved, one who has realized this knowledge, then he can have
equilibrium of mind.
Yeah. So then, otherwise our mind is so restless. No? It shows that we have not understood that Krishna is everything, that everything belongs to Krishna, rather, that Krishna is the source of everything. And once when someone understands this, then his mind is going to be peaceful, equilibrium of mind. And then one will be able to tolerate. And that is called
titiksha.
Titiksha. When one is ready to tolerate, to
control the senses and keep the mind steady. That is called titiksha, tolerance.
So means he's so steady. He's so steady, his senses are not gonna, like our senses go here and there, drive us crazy. But this entity, because he's completely understood this knowledge, so his mind is steady, he can control his senses. And then when he can control the tongue and genitals, he's called
Dritti. Am I saying correctly? Dritti.
Yeah, Dritti. Yeah. And then he becomes
a pacified person.
Pacified. He's not disturbed by the urges of tongue and genitals. So.
One who can fix his mind on Krishna without deviation attains Shantaras, the steadfast position in Krishna consciousness. One in Shantaras exhibits two main qualities: unflinching faith in Krishna and the cessation of all material desires. These specific characteristics of Shantaras, unflinching faith in Krishna and cessation of all desires not connected with Krishna, are common to all other rasas as well. Just as sound is present not only in sky, where it is produced, but also in all the other elements: air, fire, water, and earth. So these two characteristics of Shantaras are also present in Dasyaras, servitorship, Sakya Rasa, fraternity, Vatsalya Rasa, parental affection, and Madhura Ras, conjugal love.
So we can see, we may say, oh, Madhura Ras is the highest, so I want to have Madhura Ras. But we can see, and we may say, oh, Shantaras, that's the beginning of the rasa, so I don't want it. But just trying to understand here, Shantaras itself is such an exalted position. It's, of course, on the liberated platform, no? The living entity is completely liberated, and that's how he's able to fix his mind on Krishna. He's already has this love for Krishna. We are always thinking of the things that we like, we love. We are thinking of someone we love. We are thinking of things we love to do. So this Shantaras, this living entity, has love for Krishna, and that's why he's able to fix his mind on Krishna. And Krishna, he says in 934, engage your mind in always thinking of me. So then, but our mind is thinking of everything else but Krishna. So this is already a position of love. Then only one will be able to fix his mind on Krishna. And then again, we come to the point that we can revive this love by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Offenselessly. So here, now two qualities are being spoken of in Shantaras, and that is firm faith, steady faith, unflinching faith, and no more material desire, because he's completely understood that Vasudevam Sarvamiti, that Lord Krishna is the source of everything. He's completely understood the relationship of everything and everyone with Krishna. So his Sambandha Gyan he's completely understood the Sambandha Gyan. Unflinching faith in Krishna and cessation of all material desires. So then now, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that these two characteristics are not only in the Shantaras, they are there in the higher rasas also. Just as sky, the sound is not only in sky, but sound is there in fire, is there in air, is there in water, earth. As like sound is there in all the other elements. It's the first produce, right? So then air has touch and sound. Then fire has touch and sound and form. Like that. So it keeps on increasing. The characteristics keep on increasing. So unflinching faith and no material desires. These are there in Shantaras, but they're also there in the other rasas, the higher rasas. Is that all right?
Yes, yes. When we speak of desires not connected with Krishna or non-Krishna, this does not mean that anything exists without Krishna. Actually, there cannot be anything non-Krishna because everything is a product of the energy of Krishna. Since Krishna and his energies are identical, everything is Krishna indirectly. For example, consciousness is common to every living entity. But when consciousness is centered solely on Krishna consciousness, it is pure. And when consciousness is centered on something other than Krishna, or when it is directed to sense gratification, it may be called non-Krishna consciousness. Thus, it is in the polluted state that the conception of non-Krishna comes. In the pure state, however, there is nothing but Krishna consciousness. So beautifully, yeah.
So our original consciousness is Krishna consciousness, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. So we cannot be not Krishna conscious. But now, because we have become polluted, we have gotten this idea that no, not that I'm part of Krishna, but I'm God myself. So that's the reason it's non-Krishna conscious. So anything and everything that exists is a part and parcel of Krishna. Now we may say that there was something. There cannot be anything non-Krishna. So now someone may say, see, I told you everyone is Krishna, we are all God. But we have to understand we are energy of God. We are part and parcel of God. Krishna, he himself, he is a person. And we are part and parcel because we are energy of Krishna. So although it's the same, sun and sunshine, the same, cannot have sun without sunshine, cannot have sunshine without sun, yet there is a difference. The heat and light in one particle of sunshine is completely different than the full sun glow. That is the difference between us and Krishna. That we are minute and Krishna is unlimited. So when our consciousness is directed towards Krishna, we are Krishna conscious. And then when we turn away from Krishna, then we are in the polluted state to sense gratification.
Active interest in Krishna, the understanding that Krishna is mine and that I am Krishna's, and that my business is therefore to satisfy the senses of Krishna, is typical of a high state, that the neutrality of Shantaras. Simply by understanding the greatness of Krishna, one achieves the status of Shantaras, in which the worshipable object may be the impersonal Brahman or Paramatma. Worship of the impersonal Brahman and the Paramatma is conducted by those engaged in empiric, philosophical speculation and mystic yoga. But when one develops even further in Krishna consciousness or spiritual understanding, he can appreciate that the Paramatma, the Supersoul, is his eternal worshipable object and master, and he surrenders unto him. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyante. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. After many, many births of worshipping Brahman and Paramatma, when one surrenders unto Vasudeva as the Supreme Master and accepts himself as the eternal servant of Vasudeva, he becomes a great transcendentally realized soul. At that time, due to his intimate relationship with the Supreme Absolute Truth, the devotee begins to render some sort of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, the neutral relationship known as Shantaras is transformed into Dasyaras, servitorship.
So we heard that in Shantaras, the qualities are that one has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord and there are no material desires. And that's already the liberated platform. But in the Shantaras, one may not understand as yet that Krishna is a person, that God is a person. But the realization may be only to Brahman realization, that God is light or that God is Paramatma. But the appreciation is there. Yes, the understanding is there. Yes, I'm not God. God is a much greater entity than me. Maybe he's a light, or maybe he's Paramatma. And so yet the relationship is not yet, the exchange is not yet established, but the appreciation is already established. So then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that after many, many years, such a personality who's completely understood, who's already liberated, who understands that he's not God, that God is someone greater than him. After many, many years, then such a personality may begin to understand that he is a servant of Krishna. Vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabham. And then he will, because the love is established to a greater degree. When we love someone, then we want to do something for them. So in this dasya, already this loving relationship is established. Like Hanumanji, why is he doing so many services for Ramchandra? Because he has so much love for him. It's not that because he's saying Lord Rama is going to pay me or make me a king or give me some kingdom. No, it's because of love. It's a loving relationship. And then this Shantaras, which is just appreciation, it turns to dasya, where there is actual exchange. Because with the Paramatma, there is no exchange, no? There is appreciation, yes. Or with the Brahmajyoti, there is no exchange. Right? I mean, what kind of a loving exchange are you going to have with the Brahmajyoti? You can't speak to the Brahmajyoti. You can appreciate, yes, even with the Paramatma, you can appreciate. But once when the living entity desires to, because the love becomes more, and then the desires, they let me do something. Then that is dasya ras, understanding the relationship with the person. So all the foundation is all love. We may say servant, or it means it's manipulation. It is, whatever, oppression or what. No, it's the foundation is love. Krishna loves each and every one of us. When we realize how much Krishna is doing for us, how much he loves us, and when we want to reciprocate with that love, then this loving relationship is established. Then the living entity wants to reciprocate, wants to do something, then that is dasya ras. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, we can just finish this paragraph.
On the platform of Dasyaras, one exhibits the greatest quantity of awe and veneration for the Supreme Lord. That is, in Dasyaras, one appreciates the greatness of the Supreme Lord. It should be noted here that on the platform of Shantaras, there is no spiritual activity, but on the platform of Dasyaras, service begins. Thus, in Dasyaras, the quality of Shantaras is exhibited, and in addition, there is consciousness of the transcendental taste of service.
So in Shantaras, there is appreciation that God is great, completely realized it. There's no material desire. But in Dasyaras, there is actual reciprocation. There is some activity. And it's of course a spiritual activity. All what we are talking is on the spiritual platform, nothing to do with the body. Doesn't mean activity is with the body. No, real activity is with the soul. Yeah, is that okay? So what does Dasya Ras have?
For loving of service, of a servitorship.
Yes. Yes. The living entity actually wants to do something for the Lord. As we see Hanumanji, so many services he performs for the Lord. Okay. So we'll stop here for today. Were there any questions or comments?
All quite clear. Yeah, clearly explained.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.